Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joining me in the studio, you know him, he's my co-host, he's Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, good evening everybody.
Good evening.
Welcome.
And welcome back, new listeners and repeat offenders. Thank you for joining us for another episode. We've got an interesting show for you tonight. It's been 20 years since the World Trade Center attack, and there's been no shortage of conspiracy theories that have developed to explain what happened. The government was a government inside job, a bank heist, or just a pretext for war?
I wonder.
We're going to debunk and look over some of the theories that have managed to linger on for the past 20 years. That's all coming up a bit later on in the show, as well as what's fucked up where you're from. Well as the NASA and regular headlines in the news
of the day.
Well, worth sticking around for, I'm sure you'll agree.
Yeah.
So, other than that, well, it's a fun-packed show. Loads going on. I say fun-packed show, considering the conspiracy theories that are linked to it. But,
well, yeah, that's true.
What have you been up to this week, Mr. Taylor?
Me, I've just been a little busy bee, just running around doing little things here and there.
Easy bee. What have you been busy and what have you been doing getting so busy? What? Come on, Taylor. Have you been conquering the world, taking over the world?
Starting a new career.
Starting a new career, man. Yeah, that's exciting
bit
stuff.
Courses here and there to try and move in a different direction.
So pimp, is it? What courses do you have to do? Do you know
well,
what is
I
it?
do that
No, all right. Well, we won't pry too much into your personal life, but you know that sounds quite interesting. So you've been getting set up for that because it's you know, September, back to school time for a lot of people.
Oh yes.
Been seeing all the loads of kids in the new uniforms all over social media. Yes, that happens every year, doesn't it? It's like you end up getting those like first day of school photographs.
Yeah, they love it.
Oh,
the brand new uniform as well.
Yeah, exactly. Or just starting high school and all that. Best days of your life.
Yeah, and you miss your friends
best
and all
days
that
of your
well,
life.
don't you?
You don't appreciate it when you're there, do you? You're like,
and
can't wait to get out of
fact,
this.
An extra one as well with the pandemic. I suppose it's been more strained for the kids this time around than it has been.
Well, this is it, isn't it? It's almost like going to a new school for every kid. Like, you know, because, I mean, obviously, like, I'm sure there's going to be some major changes from when they were there last. You know, classes have changed. The kids that you once might have been friends with aren't there anymore. Stressful time for kids, I mean, at the moment, isn't it? I mean, a lot of different things going on, a lot of uncertainty and, you know.
Oh, yeah, so much uncertainty.
I was watching something the other day when it was saying the 90s was the last good decade. And I can totally agree with that. I mean, it's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not been all that great really since, has it?
Since 2000 drops, we haven't had really a great ride across it.
Bloody
but hopefully, as time goes by, it gets better and more generous to us all.
Hopefully. Well.
Yeah, we can only live in hope, though, can't we?
I saw something pretty interesting. Manchester's been voted the third greatest city in the world.
Not first. It's got to be third.
We're third. Only behind San Francisco and Amsterdam. You know, which are both great cities. You know what I mean? But to be in the list and be third in that list, that's pretty good for my hometown.
Top 5, man.
Well in, everyone. Yeah, anyone from Manchester. Man. Manchester is a great place to live, though.
It is.
You know what I mean?
And it's getting better and better as time goes by, man.
I know, because you've got your what's his name's coming back to United, isn't he? You were going on like
Cristiano Ronaldo.
There seems to be a lot of buzz about that at the moment.
Scored 2 goals yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, is he actually already? They've already got him working.
20 mile an hour. He was the fastest one on the pitch.
Fucking hell, man! What they've been feeding him?
Fit as a butcher's.
Butcher's
pencil.
Dog. It's a butcher's pencil. What was it? You think you've got two old wives' tales mixed up there? It's like I've seen more meat on a butcher's pencil and as fit as a butcher's dog. There you go. So I've been doing bits around. I've been busy, but nothing worth talking about. Have you seen What We Do in the Shadows has returned for season 3? If you've not seen it, it's such a great show. If you like vampires and comedy, it's what's your problem with it?
I've seen one. I don't know. It just didn't work for me.
Now, it was the original documentary, which was Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement which was just hilarious, which was kind of filmed like a Spinal Tap mockumentary surrounding around these vampires. Because you think that vampires, obviously, like, you know, they'd commune with other vampires and all the rest of it, but this follows a group of vampires in a house share. Like, so it's like, you know, it's very mundane documentary style, but it's funny. And then they've basically made a series out of that with different characters, but still part of the vampiric sort of universe that they've created, if you like.
It could be one of them in
it's
years
really
to
good.
come. I'll watch it, and it might spring out, because what was
it's Matt Berry
Jimmy
as well.
Gervais's
So Matt Berry's just brilliant.
It was the same with The Office. The Office, when I watched that first, I thought, yeah, it's all right. You know what I mean? It's not too bad. I'll watch it every now and again. But then later on in years, when I went back and watched it and collected it was like, yeah, that's meant that. That was a good move.
Fair
that was
enough.
A good move.
Yeah, well, that's what we've been up to this week. So, yeah. Nothing exciting.
Nah, not really. The bees.
I tell you what, though, what's fucked up where you're from? Yeah, this week. We do get a lot of people message about this segment. They like the segment, I think, and you know, we get a lot of people telling us what's going on in their neck of the woods, which is brilliant. And we encourage you to get involved if you want. If you've got something strange going on in your
a lot of folks up places out there, man.
Something strange in your neighbourhood.
We'll send the Ghostbusters through.
Don't call the Ghostbusters. Send us your emails to neverstraightanswer@gmail.com, and we could feature you on the show, because Space Castle did. Space Castle sent us. Said we're basically out of Arizona. And we've got all the good ones, from Fire in the Sky, which we've covered.
Well, one of my favourites.
Chupacabra.
Yeah,
which, again, this is a cryptid, isn't it? We're going to go into Chupacabra in a minute.
We will.
The Lost Dutchman's Mine and the Mogollon Monster. We've got loads of stuff going on in Arizona.
We have.
But like I say, Chupacabra I find quite interesting, because it's one of those, isn't it? It's like, where does it... I mean, it sounds like Mexican, like El Chupacabra or Spanish or something. So the Chupacabra means goat sucker. It's going to suck that goat. What do you mean?
I want to suck it tonight.
You goat sucker. It's like to suck. Cabra. Or chupa is to suck, and cabra is goat. Yeah, so like the legend, it's like a folklore, parts of American folklore as well as other countries. But
there's a lot of evidence behind it.
There's been sightings in Puerto Rico as far as like 1995, and it's basically reported as like a like a vampirism within the creature as well. So it's not a friendly creature. El Chupacabra is said to attack and drink your blood of livestock and goats. So
run on 2 feet as well.
Do they?
Yeah, they run on 2 feet. They've been caught running on 2 feet, and the variations are quite wild sometimes on the size of them, to like being massive, hairy things, to being small, like skinny things.
Like a badger.
Yeah, but
do you know when I was a kid? When I was a kid, like you brought up on shows like Tales of the Riverbank and Animals of Farthing Wood and stuff.
What's
and you think
Froggy told doing
or Wind in the Willows or whatever, and you think, badgers are quite cute. But badgers are massive and vicious little bastards.
Vicious little cunts,
So it's
like to be in a cage with one.
You think, a badger, but is this kind of, could be a cousin to a badger, maybe, of some description, because they are vicious. I mean, would you say a badger was a meat eater?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I mean, like, if it's
like
hungry enough, it might have a go at livestock. Who knows? But
Well, any animal. In fact, there was a report of a rat being eaten by a bird. Right. Massive rat.
Oh God. I think I've seen that. Yeah, I don't know where that was. Well, eyewitness sightings of the Chupacabra claim that they've seen him in Puerto Rico, as far north as Maine, far south as Chile, and even turned up in Russia and the Philippines. So, when you say, Bigfoot, if there's anyone spotted Bigfoot, there's been more Chupacabra sightings than
there is Bigfoot.
Than there has been pretty much any other cryptid, if you like.
That's true.
Another kind of story we just mentioned there is also the Lost Dutchman's Mine.
That's an interesting one.
It's one of those, isn't it? It's known as, known by similar names. According to the legend, a rich gold mine was hidden in the southwestern United States. The location is generally believed to be in the Superstition Mountains near the Apache Junction, east of Phoenix, Arizona. Has anyone found it, or is it just still lost?
I think it's still lost, but you would have thought someone would find it by now.
Oh, mate, with some gold in them there hills.
Yeah, especially if there's gold there. Yeah, you get a lot of treasure hunters
I
out
suppose
there,
it was like, back in the 19th century, there was a big, gold rush, weren't there?
Yeah,
so there was people coming in
was.
from all over the place, and I think it was like a German settlement, and that's how it's ended up getting the name, the Lost Dutchman. So, perhaps one of the most famous lost mines in American history. So
sounds like it.
Yeah,
so if
maybe
you want some
go out
gold
and
you've got nothing to do, go out and try and find it. You might get lucky.
And the one that piqued my interest, I didn't, because I'd never heard of this, the Mogollon Monster. So this is supposed to be commonly described as a large bipedal creature over 7 feet tall, 7 feet 2 meters tall, with a large body, red eyes. Its body is said to be covered in long black or reddish brown hair. So with exclusion to the chest and face and hands. So it's reported to be a bit Yeti-ish.
Yeah, I have heard of sightings of this before, but I didn't actually know the name. But now I do now.
They reckon that it's got a pungent smell described like dead fish or a skunk. Bad body odor.
Absolutely, you can smell it. Apparently, people like absolutely.
Well, apparently
vile.
It's supposed to be violent. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I might have to have a look more into that. But
I'd say that was closer to like Yeti kind of thing. Could it be an off cut from a Yeti?
Maybe
another kind of tribe of a Yeti. Like a more vicious one instead of the other one, like more mysterious and like
mysterious.
Like, hide, peekaboo.
Like hi.
Yeah,
like trying to come across.
Wild.
I'm very mysterious.
Come and take a facey with me if you can catch me.
He's not mysterious then. That's a bit of an extrovert.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, mysterious is like fucking aloof.
Different, yeah.
Just being all coy.
A lot of them are, aren't
casual.
They? Or do see them in the shopping centre.
Don't know. I've never seen a Yeti in a shopping centre.
No, I've seen an airy beast in the shopping centre, but I haven't seen a Yeti yet. Not as far as I know. I don't think it was.
What sort of shopping centres are you going to? You're going to dirt malls. Like, it's like, these ones in the fucking boondocks somewhere, and it's like, well, what are you selling? We got a rag on a stick, or a fucking, like,
one of them.
A skunk in a cage. It's like, fuck me, mate. I'm looking for the Apple shop. We don't have one of those, or a Starbucks.
No, we've got a banana one over there, though.
Yeah. So, thanks, guys, for getting in touch
cheers,
from Arizona, and that was Space Castle. I think they're a podcast as well, so go and check them out. Subscribe, why not?
Hell yeah.
If you want to get involved with What's Fucked Up Where You're From, next week you can send us an email, send us a text or whatever over on Twitter or any of the other social media platforms. And we'll be sure to, sort it out. This week's episode's brought to you in conjunction with our Patreons. We couldn't do it without you guys, and thanks for the support. You can show your support too by going over to patreon.com/neverstraightanswer and joining up on one of our tiers there. We've got, what have we got, Taylor?
Special Agent.
Is that number what? We've got Agent.
Special Agent,
and Beyond Top Secret.
Oh yeah, we'd love some top secret ones.
Lots of additional content there. I'm sure you'll agree. These worth signing up for. Also, just forgot to mention this earlier. We've been nominated for a podcast award.
We have.
Yep, the Paranormality magazine have nominated us for Best UFO Podcast category.
Brilliant.
Would mean a lot to us if you could head over to the website and vote for us. It only takes a moment. There'll be a link in the description. And
2 secs.
Hopefully we'll win this one. Yeah, with your support. Thank you very much in advance.
Yes.
Well, moving on with the show, like we said earlier on in the show, we were going to be talking about the 9/11 conspiracies. It was the deadliest attack in US history on September the 11th, 2001. American Airlines Flight 11 and the United Airlines 175 smashed into the north and south towers of the World Trade Center in New York. Over an hour and 40 minutes later, both towers had collapsed. This led to some major conspiracy theories that still linger on today. The official story that it was a ISIS attack, but lots of people still think there's more to it. What do you think? We're going to go over a couple of the conspiracy theories that have, like I say, lingered on since for the last 20 years.
It's been a long time.
But when you first mentioned, 9/11, obviously it's been 20 years since then. But it's one of those events in history that you go, oh, you remember it where you were. When you're asked, you kind of remember. You can't help but remember where you were on that day. I mean, what was you doing that day?
Me, I was, funny enough, I was in bed. I was in bed and my brother come in and woke me up and said, have you seen this? And then as soon as I turned the TV on, it was literally, must have been about 2 minutes while I wiped my eyes and that, and the second plane went into the tower, and it was like, whoa.
So yeah, you witnessed the second one live as it happened. I was the same. I mean, I was one of those where I think it was my day off work. I'd spent the morning playing a bit of PlayStation 2. I think, what was it? Mortal Kombat 10, I think, when that just came out. Playing a bit of that. And then I thought, right, I'll put Neighbours on.
Yeah.
And I think Neighbours was interrupted for...
Yeah, I think it was,
You don't know what Neighbours is? It's the Aussie, TV show that launched Kylie and Jason. Kylie Minogue, Jason Donovan.
Okay. Yeah, and some offcuts from the other stars as well.
Wait a minute. What was her name? What was she named? Holly Valance.
Yes.
Yeah, she was another one. Yeah,
that's true.
Holly, I liked a bit of Holly
Valance.
I think that's
it was a good program back in the day.
I think that's why I watched it, to be honest, at that time, for Holly Valance.
Yeah, we watched it.
So we got interrupted. Yeah, so and this breaking news is happening. But the main thing that sticks in my mind was... I think I went to meet my then girlfriend in town to kind of, because I think, obviously it had been breaking on in the news, but she was working at the time. And it was a case that there was loads of people who were working that day who didn't really see what was happening, or they'd heard something had happened, but not seen the images
the coverage.
The coverage. Yeah. So I remember the thing that just majorly sticks in my mind was in Manchester, where the print works is, they have a really large TV screen on the side of the building. If you think about of Times Square or these types of places where you've got big advertisements and big large screens on the side of the buildings. Yeah. And it was eerily quiet, and there was literally people stood around just literally staring up at this screen, and it was one of these, it seemed like a scene out of a film, where people were all just kind of like gobsmacked by this newsreel that was repeating and repeating over and over again on this massive screen on the side of a building, and people were just gobsmacked with what was going on. I mean, this was a bit later on in the day, but like I said, like yourself, witnessing that second plane impact.
You knew it was more than just an accident then, and it was, this is something catastrophic.
There'd never been anything like that. I mean, in my lifetime, in terms of events or on the world stage, and that kind of blatant.
And there's been quite a few over the years, but nothing.
Nothing as that scale. So, like I said earlier, there's been a lot of speculation into what actually happened and the reasons why that happened. I mean, obviously, the official story is that it was hijacked planes that were crashed into the trade centers by the ISIS organization at the orders of Osama bin Laden, right? Yeah. And that was the official story, but there's a lot of kind of evidence, or a lot of people have put forward evidence to suggest that there was other reasons, and maybe saying that things didn't add up as well as all that, and that there was other things at play.
I still, even today, I don't think a single person who was around there at that time that believes that it was fully how they've said it is.
So
I think
one thing is, right, I mean, obviously the United States have got like one of the best armies, air force, militaries.
Basically the police of the world.
Police of the world, if you like, yeah. But they've got, well, they've said, side note, they've turned back and said, we're not going to police the world anymore. We're just going to worry about what's going on here. But, anyway. What I'm saying is they've got a big defense system, right? Yeah. So the idea that two planes were able to slip through without being intercepted was a bit suspect in itself. So, I mean, there's a common belief amongst truthers that the North American Aerospace Defense Comrade, NORAD, ordered the jets to stand down and let the planes reach their targets.
Yeah, because there was an exercise going on at exactly the same time. There was a military exercise, and on one side it's saying then we thought it was a part of the exercise, and then on another side it's saying, well, no, it wasn't. We just stood them down.
So there was actually an exercise going. It's funny that, isn't it? Because it was like I saw another theory about like an exercise going on at the Trade Center the day before the incident on the 10th. Where like an anti-terror attack drill, if you like, but. So, I mean, why would they do such a thing? Obviously, conspiracy theorists believe that the government wanted the attack to occur to justify their assault on Iraq and Afghanistan and secure oil interests.
Yeah, and also to get rid of £2.3 trillion Donald Rumsfeld had said the day before that the actual Pentagon was corrupt. This is what I was surprised to see this when I actually read it back, that they was corrupt and they couldn't even be bothered to look into their own finances. And then the investigation for it was actually in one of the towers. And then funny enough, afterwards, there was not a lot talked about it, and it just sort of disappeared in the wind.
Well, there was some sort of investigation about, if the old mafia guys, where they'd be like, if the business weren't doing so well, or they just torch it, burn it down, and get the insurance. Nice, well, apparently there was a new owner of the building who put a major insurance claim in, a major insurance policy, I suppose, on the Twin Towers, a month before.
He had a check on both buildings.
Incidents, and he basically came out pretty much on top with the payout. So I mean,
follow the money.
Yeah, no, but I mean, again, it's like to say that it was all orchestrated by one guy trying to do an old school mafia insurance scam is a bit far out. I mean,
but like you told me before about the don't forget the airlines, the people who put money into the airlines and got their nice little slice.
Well, we'll get into that a bit later on, because I mean, obviously there's like a lot of different theories. Like I say, the one of the other ones that was the main conspiracy theory is that the Twin Towers were brought down by explosives and not the plane. Yeah. So the one thing I kind of have an issue with is the structural. You see, when I think if a plane was to hit the building, then you just have a standing structure with a hole in it. Like, I didn't think a plane would have had such destructive capability to be able to do that and make that and cause that much damage. You know what I mean? It was like in terms of the fuel. It's like, fair enough, the plane might be loaded with fuel, but once it hits and that fuel's released, any fires would be, it would burn off the excess fuel. And
plus, I imagine there were sprinkle systems in there.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be like, such an intense fire that it'd twist the metal in such a way. And then,
no way.
Fire travels upwards, heat travels up. So any fires will be rising, not going down, So, obviously, within a few hours of the attack, one of the most well-known theories is that the collapse of the North and South Tower were an act of controlled demolition.
Yeah, I think it was more like thermite.
So due to the way the buildings fell so quickly and perfectly in their own sort of area, you know.
Yeah, it was control. It well looks controlled.
It does, doesn't it?
Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, it looks too controlled, if anything.
Well,
and no evidence at the end of it.
Well, they basically said it was due to structural damage is why the building collapsed so well. Yeah.
But the thing was, it was the way it was built. It was actually built to withstand earthquakes and disasters like that.
Yeah. Most buildings aren't they? They factor this sort of stuff in.
Top-notch buildings, you know, around it. You know, you could throw a rock at it and it still stand there and shine a bit of sunlight in your eyes.
Well, the official reports.
Building.
The official report stated that the towers fell due to structural damage caused by the plane and the resulting fires. Conspiracy theorists or truthers then said that, you know, they argue that fires don't burn long enough. 56 minutes isn't long enough to twist, you know, get that steel up to that sort of temperature that it's going to collapse.
Intensity.
Also, there was puffs of smoke from each floor of the tower as they collapsed. These puffs of smoke are seen as proof that the buildings were brought down by some sort of explosive.
You know what? I still go with the thermite thing on that, and the reason why is because you're collapsing the middle first, so you're creating dust already. So I think it was just the dust as it first hit within in the frame.
Yeah.
So you're seeing the dust come out, and then the next slot is the dust. It's not actually.
Well, this kind of comes back. This makes me think about like I said earlier. There was a
shockwaves as well.
There was a report of a team doing an anti-terror drill the day before. Yeah. Could they have been planting explosives within the building? Do you know, on each floor to aid that collapse?
This is another theory.
I don't know.
It was already planted within the building when it was designed.
Well, they're saying that there's no sort of credible evidence for it. There's no reports that have emerged to say that demolition was used because obviously they'd be looking out for drill holes in columns. Obviously, it was a busy office complex. It was running 24 hours a day in a lot of respects prior to 9/11. So you'd think that somebody would have seen something or been. But I mean, how often, you know, when the maintenance guys are in, do you take actual notice? Yeah. If you're working in a building and a guy comes in and he's doing a job, he's, doing some lift maintenance or whatever, are you going to notice that guy, really? You know,
if you're a worker, then you're not going to notice him because you're too busy doing whatever you're doing. If you're lazy,
be busy doing your work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, it's hard to say, really, isn't it? Like, whether you'd notice somebody a bit kind of, suspect if they were. It's one of those, isn't it, where it's like, there was reports of people wearing high-vis jackets and just going on wasteland and, using, saying that they own the land and that you could park on it and taking money. And it just goes to show that, if you're wearing the right equipment, then you can get away with anything, really. You're walking with a clipboard and a tool bag, and you'll get away with it because people just don't suspect that you're up to anything no good. You're just on a contract doing your work.
There's too many con artists out there, and it's so easy for them to do it. And they know the tricks of the trade, and they fuck with your mind, and you don't even realise until after the fact.
So what do you reckon to the whole demolition thing? I think it was very neat how those buildings fell.
Oh, yeah.
And I think towards the end, they did actually control demolition a couple of the other buildings, didn't they?
Yeah, but Building 7 as well.
I wondered why they did that, because it was like buildings like across the road where they were like, we're going to blow that building as well for some unknown reason.
Probably it stopped because it would have been destroyed anyway, and the structure of how it would have been destroyed would have been more dangerous.
I reckon there was some more insurance scams going on there. It's like building owners going, "Can you blow mine up too?"
You never know. You never know. I mean, Building 7 was
as long as they got everyone
CIA
out.
Building.
Was it
before it was before it was emptied, and then a little fire in one little office. That literally was a little fire. Actually collapsed a lot in a demolition way as well. It's and where's all the metal and all the that was there? It was taken away so fast, cut up, and thrown
There's actually a piece of if you live in Manchester or you visit in Manchester, there's a museum in Salford Quays called the Imperial War Museum.
Yeah, great museum, man.
Great museum. They've actually got a piece of the steel, and it is twisted.
I think 8 pieces went around.
It is twisted up like ridiculous, and to think that kind of like that was caused by, I mean, the plane's aluminium. You know, I mean, in terms of how that can affect a steel structure.
Now
you mean commercial airplane frames are, you know, they're constructed with very lightweight aluminium and materials that make it easy to fly.
To turn it into.
Do you know what I mean? It needs to get off the ground at the end of the day, yeah. So it needs to be as lightweight as possible. So.
Well, the Thermite theory, there was.
Keep coming back to this Thermite theory.
But the plane to turn into the Thermite, because of all them elements, that could have done that. Because you did see...
Why? How rusty was this plane?
Well, it's apparently the chemical elements were all there to do it, but I still don't believe... I still don't believe that story. I believe this story because there was a lot inside as well, which it just doesn't sit right.
Well, there's a lot of people who believe missiles were used, right? Now, I'm not sure about this missile thing because there was a lot of people watching live. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, you know, would you have seen a missile? You would have seen the missile if it would have hit, wouldn't you? Sure.
Well, no, because they'd be faster. You wouldn't have seen it. And it would have more than likely, if it was going to into a building, it would have had to have at a certain point so it'd actually explode, or it'd go straight through the fucking building.
Yeah, really.
You know what I mean? You'd have to hit something significant for it to actually explode, or it'd just go through one window, hit someone in the head, and go through out the other window, and it drops true. Wherever it's going to drop. Yeah, unless it could have been early drones, but. This is the fact.
Yeah, because I mean, like, this is it. It's like we've got technology now that like is a lot more advanced in that way. But I mean, it's like
we would have had that.
We wouldn't have had that. Would you think the military would have had that technology?
Yeah, it works out that most stuff that we get out in as technology, it has to be military usefulness first, and then it comes out. It's like GPS. GPS is military. It's Air Force.
Yeah, of course it is.
You know what I mean? And like, there's also there's different ones that come out, and you know, it's just you got to realize that they will have had this technology. I wouldn't have said a lot of years beforehand, but at least about 20 years beforehand. You know, bringing before it actually comes out into people noticing, and you know, we could do this or do that. Or even bring it up themselves.
So talking of missiles, a lot of speculation went towards obviously the Pentagon, because obviously the Pentagon was hit with Flight 77.
Such a small hole.
It kind of early videos and photos taken from the scene didn't really show much evidence of plane wreckage. Do you know?
No.
It was just kind of like damage done to the side of the building, really, wasn't it?
And it would have had to have been missile, because if the big plane wasn't seen on the video either, and it couldn't have created such a small hole.
Well, they're saying unmanned drone or missile for that, potentially.
Yeah, because if it was a small plane, then it would have been too slow for it as well.
Yeah,
unless it was a jet.
There wasn't enough damage to say it was a plane, but I mean, they was straight on the fact that they were saying that it was a plane and named the plane as Flight 77. So do you know? I mean, if it wasn't a plane that hit it, what happened to that plane?
Well, that's you know
the question.
What I mean? Yeah.
How were these? I mean, I don't know how the planes were, so easily, hijacked. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
they were training, weren't they? Apparently, they've been training in like Texas or somewhere in desert and trying smaller planes, but then getting bigger planes and getting the licenses for it, and then they only needed to learn. Getting manuals and go through it and then get on the plane. It was a different
world as well in terms of security, prior as well. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like how it is now going through airport security, it was nothing like that back in the early 90s or late 90s, was it?
You know, have liquid. You could. It was a freer time. It was a lot freer time.
So why do you think that there was any sort of attack on the Pentagon whatsoever? I mean, if it was an inside job. Yeah, and it was this pretext to kind of like create chaos to get people on your side to go to war. Yeah. Because it riled up a lot of people, let's face it. Yeah, right? Yeah. Regardless of who did it, there was a lot of pissed off people, involved.
A lot of revenge was out there.
Yeah, there was a lot of kind of like, we're going to want to go for blood,
we want to do something,
and willing to join up, right? Yeah. So if it was down to that, you should have point proven, really, isn't it? Do you know, if by the first attack, why go for the Pentagon as well? Or is it a case of that they was housing sensitive material, potentially a server that needed taken out, or some sort of evidence?
Well, no one had ever done it before. No one had ever tried it before, so why not? So if you're going to hit him big, you might as well hit him big and hit him some more.
Well, that's on the pretense that like it was a third party, not an inside job. Do you know what I mean? Well, like if it was somebody actually a proper physical terrorist attack, then it would be hit him again and hit him again somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? But you know, if it was an inside job, then you just expect that once would be enough, or a bit of overkill just secures the message, if you like. Do you know what I mean?
It secures the services as well, getting a lot more money and a lot more security on knowing your details and everything as well. And the thing that gets me the most on it is the bit about it being a terrorism. I mean, terrorism groups don't generally, from past history, don't generally poke the lion in the ball bag with a stick and go, come and play with me.
Eloquently put, as
you know
always,
what I mean? You're a little group that are talking about hitting the beast.
Exactly.
Round and whoop you even more. You'd never.
Why? What you're saying? Why poke the lion, if you like?
Yeah,
well, what did they have to gain from it? Because obviously, if you do kind of rile up one of the biggest superpowers with the biggest military, what you're expecting is going to happen. Yeah, like is that they're going to move in on your territory and take vengeance.
And then send a tape. And send a tape and say, it was me. I'm in this country. Yeah. See you when you come.
Well, there's a lot of speculation to say that those tapes are fake.
Yeah. Because apparently there was yet again another set of fake.
Wasn't Bin Laden educated and trained by the US and UK at some point as well?
In fact, his family come over. His family's actually in the UK.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go. It's crazy. I mean, like, again, it's like if we go, right, we need a fall guy.
This is it. He only got to where he was because of the, I think it was 1983, the war when Russia went in for 39 days and attacked him. And he was like he'd come up to be one of them leaders who actually, he showed to be a lion and like, I will attack, I'd do this, that and the other. And then after that, they grew him. The CIA made a deal with him at that time. He wanted some Stinger missiles, which were heat seekers to actually hit the helicopters.
Right.
But what he really got was RPGs. So he was doing business with the US, and the US were going, he's like, they're coming to kick us ass. I need some weapons. Oh, brilliant. You're going to give us these weapons. Thanks, mate.
Well, they've done that now, haven't they? They've left a load of them for him now. We've got fucking, I'll have some helmets as well and gloves, whatever you want.
He's give you a fucking squirty gun when you wanted a rifle, and it's like, shit, on the desperate need. And then obviously they won. And basically it was payback. And like, if it's another thing of like, if you're going to go and attack somewhere and destroy a village and kill loads of innocent people or guilty people, it don't matter. There's always a family member who's willing to turn.
Well, this is what I think as well.
I'm going to come and get you.
Well, you've just like said something there that's kind of relates to what I was thinking, because in terms of anyone who knew about this attack going forward, like before the attack, leading up to it, anyone who knew about it had an inside information, then, are you going to be able to keep that information as quiet as, is it going to leak out? Are people going to start knowing? Is it going to be insiders? Yeah, who knew things were going on? I mean, I noticed, like, we talked about the guy who put the insurance in, to kind of, like, was that just a case of timing and it just played out, and that it just happened to bad timing or good timing, like whichever way you want to look at it, or did he know something quick, and he thought, right, I need to get an insurance policy out. You know,
this is the thing. These are little bits add up. You know,
things that people say that you know, these people who knew more than they let on going forward. You know, there was actually wasn't the reports that there was going to be something that was going to happen that was reported to the CIA the days leading up to it.
So I believe it wasn't a case of disregard it. They went in, had a look, and then left. Basically, had a look, went and investigated, and went, I don't think there's anything here. Which, if you think about it, if you've got people ringing up all the time and you've got like 40,000 cases, but you've only got 20 men, you've only got a certain amount of ability to be able and timing to go out and actually do all them things that you're employed to do.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that don't forget the money went into the services, the military. A lot of money went into there, so they've
there was a lot of
people.
There was a lot of people who were putting investments on. Do you know? Because obviously it's a stock market, isn't it? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And if something happens to that building, then stock prices are going to plummet. Yeah, right. Now the funny thing was, there was an extraordinary amount of people putting investments on that only pay off
rich people
when stock prices drop. Yeah, right. So something like that would pay off big time for them. Do you know what I mean? Because they they plummeted. Yeah, right. So,
and if you didn't do it by, you knew what was going to go on, wouldn't you give that money to actually for the foundations for the people that all this happened?
Well, the funny thing was, the two of the investments that were put on in this sort of capacity, where like you get a big payout if the price drops on it, were in the airlines used.
Yes.
So there were stocks in the two airlines, America and United Airlines. Which happened to be the airlines that hijacked during 9/11. So obviously theorists have concluded with that there was something going on, when they had some sort of advanced warning on the attack.
I tell you what, though, I wouldn't mind knowing exactly where the fourth plane was going. The one that actually
intercepted.
It was.
Did he intercept
successfully by the people within the plane actually brought the plane down.
Oh, right, great, yeah.
So that was
what you mean? What the target was?
Yeah, because I believe it was going towards the Pentagon, but then also it might have been going towards the White House.
Yeah, I mean, what would you do?
If
you worked in the Trade Center, because do you know what? Actually, do you know Seth MacFarlane?
Yeah.
Creator of Family Guy. He was due to be on one of those flights, He was booked in on the flight, to go to New York, I think, or somewhere, wherever the plane was actually going, and he missed the flight, he overslept or something and missed the flight, but it was literally the flight that he was going to be on was the plane that
flight
hit.
that come down.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of kind of stories like that. But imagine you worked in the Trade Center, and or you knew somebody who worked in the Trade Center, and you were privy to this information.
I thought my Uncle John was there.
There's a lot of people from around the world. This is the thing. So it's a big company. There was a lot of people coming and going. There was people there was a record number of employees who actually took the day off from work that day. Over 4,000 people.
Yeah, which is another.
It's a bit of an odd number. So it's quite a lot of people to be taking off. So I mean, is there any sort of connection where you could say, well, like, did any of those people know that something was going to happen, or was it just like a bank holiday where it was?
Were they told to stay on, or did they have something to do so they stayed on?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
That'd be the question.
It's one of those where it's like in the UK where it's like if it's a long weekend, or we have points in the year where it's beneficial to have that extra day off. So a record number of people take a day off on that day specifically. Because
it was a beautiful day.
It's a nice day, and it works out. You get a nice long weekend.
It usually is in America, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean? Was it those reasons, or was it a case of that some people were in the know there? I don't know.
Yeah, there's just so many funny things. I mean, let me go back to the White House a minute. The White House must be the one most secure place that you couldn't get any vehicle across there. You know what I mean? and like it would have been shot down beforehand, which makes me another feeling of like, why are you going somewhere that you know you're not going to succeed?
Yeah. It is a strange one, isn't it? Because there's loads of
you just go areas there.
There's loads of areas there where you think, well, surely you would have or surely you would have found that, or surely you would have kind of had took the reports that you got days prior seriously, or any number of these reasons, So why did we still end up with the events that happened that day, and do you know what bothered me the most out of all of it? It was the response from the commander-in-chief at the time, which was George W. Bush Jr., and his response was, because he was reading to children, wasn't he, at a school?
Yeah, when he got told, because he heard about the first one that went in, and was that
the day, or was it? Because
that was the day. Because he was in there. I saw minute by minute on what he was actually doing.
Because there was a couple of occasions. Obviously, there was the Katrina thing as well, right? Where
that was a big.
Where again he was doing something else, and he just basically he was told the information by where he was in the middle of something. And I always get those two confused. So was for the 9/11, was he in the school?
And the reason why he didn't leave after he got told straight away that it looks like it was a terrorist attack, because he said that because he didn't want to scare the kids. He wanted to carry on with the kids. And you can see it in the reporters when they're filming him, that like he's there, mind ticking on. Shit, I should have been a president now.
Well, it's weird that, because do you know what? I mean, when you just said that, then have you seen that recently? This was a painting of George W. Bush Jr. sat cross-legged on the floor of his office with like games and things around him, like a child. Right. And it was discovered. It was hung up in Epstein's house. Yeah.
No way.
And it's almost like a painting of George W. Bush playing with a child, but from the child's perspective. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
so imagine we're sat there, both sat facing each other cross-legged, but from my eyes, peep show style, I'm looking at George W. Bush and he's playing Jenga. You know what I mean? And this painting was hung up in Epstein's house.
Shit.
I mean, obviously, when he's sat there reading to kids and he's fucking... Then one of his aides has come in and told him that New York's under attack. And
he's there going
the country needs the president. Can you come in and deal with this? And he's going, give me 5 minutes. I'm just feeding Snuggly Wiggly goes to the park or whatever.
I still think he should have at least
that bothered me.
Up and gone,
that bothered me. I'll
finish what he was doing and then gone and dealt with what he was paid to do.
I think the kids would be like, right, kids, got to wrap this up. Got more important. I'm the president of the United States.
No, at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? It's the biggest event of the century for him.
So another one of the theories that came about was that the Trade Center was actually to cover up a bank heist.
Now this is it's a big event for going to get.
Reminds me of that. What's it? Die Hard with a Vengeance. Do you know what I mean? And that was kind of around the Trade Center as well, wasn't it? Because they wanted to blow a vault, but they made it look like it was an attack, whereas they were trying to do the vault.
The federal bank can take all the
the
gold
Federal
from there.
Reserve Bank. Yeah. So that's basically, underneath the Trade Center, there was a vaults that housed quite a lot of gold and silver, by all accounts, about 600 million pounds or plus 600 plus gold and silver bullion.
That's a nice chunk of change.
These articles saying that the World Trade Center under the ruins, obviously once it had collapsed, this vault was underneath, underneath the ruins. And
you can sneak it out.
They only managed to retrieve about $300 million worth of the gold.
That's probably
but why would you build? It's like, right, we know that there's gold under there. We knew from reports saying that there was X amount of gold, and now you're saying half of it's missing.
Well, it's open, innit? And
let's build a park on top of it. You know what I mean? It's like you would not be building a park until you'd retrieved every last bit of gold, wouldn't you? You'd be sending fucking guys in with metal detectors.
Yeah,
everything.
And if you think about it, if you were a terrorist organisation, wouldn't you want to go for that straight after it, sneakily?
Yeah. So, well, he said that there was only 200. Mayor Rudolph?
Giuliani.
No, yeah, it might be Giuliani. He announced that there was more than £230 million worth of gold and silver bars that had been stored in the bomb-proof vault, had been recovered. But like I say, when there should have been more there. But obviously, people have kind of speculated that there was,
Could be the way they're counting it and going, one for you, one for me. For you,
there was two trucks that were seen at Ground Zero on the Wednesday that started hauling $200 million worth of gold from the site.
Officially?
Yeah. So they managed to get in the vault and they hauled it away. So there was a lot retrieved, but unknown to most people at the time, 650 million in gold and silver was being kept.
That's a lot of
so
change,
that's 4 floors beneath the World Trade Center.
Well, you never know.
So so there's a bit of a discrepancy there, isn't there? Do you know what I mean?
There is.
And I mean, for 300 million.
And I think someone's watched the film and gone, "Oh, let's add this together. It might, it looks like it could be."
So I mean, like, I'm not sure. I think like there's a lot of different conspiracies there. I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, whatever happened, it was a tragic day. Yeah. And you will always remember the people who were lost on that day, and the families, and it was epic news. It was like something that I'd never see again in my lifetime, apart from what's going on now.
Whenever I think about it,
there's never been anything like in terms of kind of scale, and even like 20 years on, I mean, we're still seeing the kind of after effects of it, with the troops only just coming back from Afghanistan now, and
and the fire brigade and the police and the innocent people who were around it at the time as well, and even the fire brigade.
Well, the fire brigade, I find, with the fucking heroes there. In terms of like first responders. Yeah, anyone who was on a first response. But there was these video clips from the fire brigade who even the fire brigade say there was something a bit shady going on because there's video footage of them evacuating people out of the building, down the stairwells, and explosions happening, and that's caught on their actual video cameras. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So they've got clubbed together now, and they've actually.
So are the fire brigade actually asking for another official investigation because they think it's suspect?
Yeah, they don't believe what's been put in the actual
and they're the
white
experts,
paper.
I suppose, aren't they? I mean, this is it. We can only go on what information we can find, but
we don't listen to those at the front line. Who should we listen to? Not those who are sitting in behind the desk who are just putting the cash in your hand or to the front line and doing a little bit of paperwork. Should be those on the front line who's got the experience. Should be the ones who should be telling you what to be doing.
Well, yeah, and from their experience, what they, this is the thing. But again, it comes back from those people delivering their reports back to the officials, who then tell the press and everybody else what the official story is. So, somewhere down the line, the fire brigade or the fire service and the police service would have had to give their accounts, which led to the official report. So who's, or is it a case of that it was so much going on the day that it's like, the accounts of what happened are so kind of like, here, there and everywhere that... Is it? I mean,
but it's
even 20 years later, do you think we've got a clear picture of exactly what happened?
Yeah, it's true, but it clearly can't be that hard to find out the truth on certain bits. But it's the kind of, oh well, that disappeared. That little bit of piece of paper disappeared, so you can't find out about this bit. Oh no, or someone lying to actually take you off the track. I mean, in
terms of what, like, we were saying...
It's a JFK again. The man behind the grassy knoll. Was it or wasn't it?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Because even, like, you can believe the official story, or the official reports, or if it is something more kind of inside job or more sinister, then it makes you think that these are the people who are representing us, you know, and there's definitely more questions that need answering. Exactly.
Yeah. And the amount of people who've gone out there, used their time and gone deep into it and had a look at videos and that they're asking the questions, but they're not getting no answers where they can be an answer. And until them answers are told, it's just going to carry on the way it has done for like the last 20 years.
Exactly, yeah. Well, like I say, it's been 20 years since the attack, you know, and we may never know the entire story.
I think that's going to be the case, to be honest. I think we never will.
Exactly. Well, there you go. If you want to add to anything we've discussed tonight, you can get in touch with us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com or hit us up on social media. We'd be interested to know your thoughts or any other theories that you've come across. Be interesting. Yeah, get in touch. Well, as always, we've looked over the entire internet and for about good half an hour to find you the latest and craziest news from Earth, space and beyond. And, well, here it is. It's the news! Oh, yeah. It's been a bit of a mad week for news, hasn't it, really? And like I say, we've scoured the internet to try and find you the most fascinating news going. And I don't think we're disappointed. You know, have you anything... Well, firstly, I mean, I don't know, this is pretty breaking news. Yeah, I know you wanted to talk about it, but vaccine passports. Yeah, there's been a lot of kind of like hate about them, which is, I mean, it's like Nazi Germany, isn't it? Where you're like basically like, I've got to show you the papers. If you want to go into the shop or a nightclub or wherever. So there was a kind of I saw something the other day where they were projecting anti-passport slogans on the Houses of Parliament. You know, people getting the local MPs on board to try and, you know, sway government in, you know, even, you know, the conservative benchers are against this. You know, I think it's a terrible idea, just promoted segregation and class, putting a class system in.
And every weekend there was people going out there and like asking why you're doing this and like protesting.
Solve anything, worldwide. Does it? I mean, it basically puts you into a "are you vaccinated or not" category. You know, and I think we shouldn't be living like that. You know,
labeling
in terms of labeling you, exactly. Yeah, so
which we're supposed to be stamping out.
So it's been announced today that that's not going to happen, is it? What's the story there?
The story is that they've had basically the backbenchers have niggled them to stop it because like it's not worth the money, the hassle, and also the fight as well, because they've lost the fight against us again. Because how many times have we come in?
Oh, mate, how many times? Well, no, just any time they've come in with like, you know, identity cards or anything like that. I think, you know, it's a step too far.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Too far. I mean, I've already got one. If you've got a driving license, you've already got one, basically.
Well, you've got proof of who you are, right? I mean, if you can prove who you are, that's enough, right? If you've got a passport or any sort of identification. But, you know, and I think in certain areas like we're talking about tonight, where if you need ID to get through passport control or whatever, or you're flying into another country, then fair play, you need to use your ID. But
that's the proper way,
just to be... You know, so they've got a record of everybody and who you are and all your data.
Well, it's a case of you've got that data. If you were a shopkeeper and you got swiped with a card, you've got that data now. So a shopkeeper or a civilian of anyone could know all my details, my finance.
Well, it's who it's linked back to, medical. Isn't it? It's who it's linked back to. I mean, there's a lot of debate about who's got access to your medical records and whether, you know, like if you were looking for employment and, you know, you're unvaccinated, could you then possibly not get an opportunity because they can see that that's on your medical record and, you know, they don't even have to ask you. They can just check. I mean, it is unlawful, isn't it? And it's obviously goes against your liberties, I suppose, and your rights.
Which a lot of people have had their rights taken away and been promised that their rights have come back. And
well, I'm glad they've dropped it anyway, because I think obviously it would have caused a lot of problems. And I think if it would have been enforced, if it came out on, they said, right, it's coming out this Friday. Yeah. Friday, Saturday, there'd be riots. It's
not the only thing they've dropped though either. I've just found out that, when I've been going on about NHS Digital, that can, companies have a look at your details and that, I'm hearing that they've dropped that now.
Well, that's what I was just asking there about, whether they've got access to your medical records or anything. So they're dropping that. So that was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
But it might come back. This is the thing, I think they're going to come back with another kind of idea of security or some kind of scam that's going to go on. We're going to be more unsecure now with terrorism, with what's going on in Afghanistan. So they can bring that back in later on and go, well, we'll give you, we need ID now for everyone to go around because we don't know if you are a terrorist or not. Yeah, but even if you were a terrorist and you've got ID. Yeah, you can be transferred within. I think it's 2 months. You can have your mind fucked with this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? And go out and do something.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Well, it's one of those, isn't it? I think it's ID is. I think Well, no, having ID is not a no to be, to show who you are, but. In terms of a registration or, everyone's got a kind of... It's more the fact that you've got to prove that you're not, a carrier or, but, even people who've been vaccinated can be passing on, COVID. So why does it matter if you've got the double jab or not? It's just putting people into two categories, the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. I've even seen reports of people who have, basically were getting married and they've uninvited people from the wedding because they're anti-vaxxers. Do you know what I mean? It's already it's happening. There's pubs and clubs that are basically saying if you're not vaccinated, you ain't coming in.
Yeah, and it's going to lose money. It's also going to lose the government money, which is going to lose money on what we need to survive. There's
just a lot of people who are just going, do you know what? Well, I just won't go anywhere then. But, it's hey, you can't hold your life up.
Well, that's true, but you can't also get your life predicted. You know what I mean?
I found this story, which again it comes down. You were talking about the NHS, but this refers to the American medical boards and stuff. In Oklahoma City, the Oklahoma governor Kevin Stritt has removed the only physician from the board, the medical board.
What?
I know, yeah. I don't know why he thought that was a good idea. Just a week after the board voted 7-1 to delay. Implementing rules that split plan to privatise the medical service. So we get rid of the only doctor who'll probably be saying don't. And he's get rid of him.
That's all they need to do for our NHS, and they're doing it a little bit at the time. We're losing ridiculous. It slowly and slowly.
So basically, everyone on the medical board is money motivated and business orientated and doesn't have any sort of medical training whatsoever. So when it comes down to something that's like pandemic or anything major, the hospital need medical advice, or this board needs medical advice. These are the guys who're supposed to be making the final say, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And it's ridiculous. We've just we've in the NHS, we got rid of our top management to try and save some money, but you know what? They brought them back with more money, and it's ridiculous how stuff is being spent. And I think governments need to be more accountable for what they're doing.
Well, definitely they should be. Do you know what I mean?
Because they're definitely
I think
not
there was
now.
Something I saw the other day where they were saying they were a petition to make it illegal to lie in Parliament. Yeah. So fucking hell about Boris Johnson would be fucking up in the docks for that. The guy lies every 2 seconds, but anything else you've seen in the news this week?
Ecuador. in Ecuador.
We
now,
were talking about Ecuador last week, weren't we, with all the bits and pieces they were finding over there in the artifacts department.
Oh, yes, but now you can spend Bitcoin as a currency of the country.
Right, okay.
So now you can go shopping with a Bitcoin in Ecuador and go and buy your stuff there.
Well, this is the thing. I think we're already in this sort of, everyone goes on about like, electronic currency and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, we're already doing it really with debit cards and stuff. It just says that we've got a balance. Yeah. So are Ecuador able to spend physical currency, or have they got to go with the card option now and Bitcoin, like a crypto?
It'd be a system of both. You'd be able to use both.
Because I kind of got me thinking about kind of like, if they were to turn around and abolish the pound note or a dollar note or whatever, the physical banknote, right, and say, right, we're turning to crypto, we're going, everyone's going to use card, right?
Chance like that could happen.
Oh my God! Well, yeah, if it happened, then basically anybody who was squirreling money away, like kept it in banknotes, they'd turn around and say, right, well, you've got till say like the end of the month to hand it in at the bank, and we'll put it in your bank account. But any criminal activity money, it'd be like, shit, what do I do with this? Because you've got to explain why you've got this large amount of money. Anything that you might buy off the black market, shall we say, you couldn't pay for in the typical sense. There'll be a record of. There's a lot of kind of areas that are just crumble because of that, and let's hope we don't do that.
Of cash, 94% of cash around the world is gone.
Really?
So we're only using 6% cash at the moment. So it's nearly over with anyway. It's just a case that I think it's just diabolical wrong, because you've still got people like hackers. You've still got stuff like EMP pulses as a terrorist organisation to cut down or fry up your chips. Or you've also got the sun.
Hang about. Wait a minute. Fry ups and having chips. What the fuck are you on about? You're making me hungry, son.
It fries the chips so you can't use them.
Oh, right. Okay. I thought you were talking about like eggs and beans and that.
Now
and read my paper.
Scientists are actually talking about it now, which they should have been talking about fucking ages ago. That because we're using so much electricity, that if something like that happened, how it could exist or
totally. If there was a sort of EMP or something like that, or I think you were talking about photons. That we're ruining computers and stuff like that. And, we're changing votes in vote machines, but I think that might be a bit of an excuse. You know what I mean?
Oh, well,
But, I said this, there's a whole culture of kind of people who, influencers and people who make money on the internet. That if there was such a thing to happen and the internet went down, or, we had no electricity suddenly, there's a whole economy of people who make money online. The money's gone. And Bitcoin, if you were an investor in Bitcoin, how does that work if suddenly the method of using it is no longer an option?
Exactly.
How do you retrieve it?
Or use it? Try and barter with whatever you've got.
All comes back down to precious metals at the end of the day, doesn't it?
But that's what they're trying to avoid in England as well, because bartering is becoming illegal to do because there's no taxation on it. And they want as much tax as they can.
It's like that scene in Monty Python, The Life of Brian, where it's like, $2 denarii for that? You must be mad. You're supposed to haggle.
I could bet anything with you and bargain and say, like, well, I'll swap you a cup of tea for a cup of coffee. And we go, yeah, all right. But then we'd have to pay tax on that.
Have we got to pay tax on that cup of tea?
Yeah, if we get caught, we have to pay on it.
Paying for who's going to go who's going to do a swap and then go right? It's like let's get the government in on this. You can just ram this. You could just ram raids for stuff like this story I found. Shopping. I think it's in a Dutch town of Verburg.
Oh right, okay.
It was ram raided for what would you expect they were doing a ram raid for? Rolexes, watches, all that sort of stuff. Nope. This was targeting Lego and Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
They ram raided a toy shop It's
my days.
Makes me think that he was a child behind the wheel of this this van. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, right, where are we hitting next? Woolworths, fucking Woolworths exist anymore, but we'll get the pick and mix.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It's hard to hit banks nowadays. They haven't got any money in them, have they, really? So where else are you going to have to go?
Apparently, yeah, but this is the thing, isn't it? It's like Pokemon and Lego is in demand, so, you know, it's like very popular stuff, you know. If you're thinking outside the box and thinking, right, well, what's going to make me money in the coming months? It's Christmas coming up, like you say.
Yeah.
Was it Halloween, a wise business move?
Some masks and
Do you know what I mean? Or was it, you know, some little sprog thinking, right, I'm going to have a Lego. I'm going to get all the Lego.
Yeah, so don't forget, watch your pumpkins if you're growing them at the moment, because someone might take them.
Why do you mean, where are your pumpkins? What do you mean?
Yeah, Halloween's coming up.
Right, okay. So where did that come from?
Oh, pumpkins, Halloween. Someone could come and nick them. It's an item.
We were talking about raiding toy shops, though. So where did they put, and for Christmas? So where did pumpkins and robbing Halloween pumpkins come from?
Because of bargaining with someone.
Oh, right. So you think that people are going to be like, here,
I've got a pumpkin. I saw your pumpkin for a £5.
You random man.
It's already done. Yeah.
All right then. Yeah. So everybody watch your pumpkins, because Taylor might come and steal them. Anything else you've seen in the news?
Yes. Oh, Prince Andrew. He's been served.
Prince Andrew, watch your pumpkins. He's been served. He hasn't.
He has been served.
He hasn't.
Yeah. Well, his guard at the gate had been served.
So what happened is they've served papers, right, from an American court. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously Prince Andrew was being served for to appear
Virginia
in court.
Roberts.
Yeah. They can't get close to him. The guy lives down a Mile Road in a mansion. Yeah, right. Yeah. They went basically asked security if they could serve him the papers, and they were told no. Yeah, they went back the next day and were able to leave them at the gates, right? As I believe. So, has Andrew physically had them? Can you argue? And the fact that it's an American court, he doesn't even acknowledge that. So, I think do you know?
Well, then he should go on the international court.
I don't abide by it or agree with what he's done. Yeah, but he's saying diplomatic immunity, right? Which I think these rules are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Going back to that, there was a teenager who was run over by somebody who was a diplomat speeding.
Diplomat's wife.
Diplomat's wife, who was speeding and killed an innocent person. Diplomatic immunity, right? Yeah. You've got Andrew going to other countries and being a naughty fucking boy, right? And claiming diplomatic immunity, right? What the fuck means that it just gives fucking... It gives people in power the permission to do things, but with the guise of don't shit on your own doorstep. Yeah. So you can't do it in your own country, but if you go over to another country as a diplomat, you're able to do what the fuck you want. I think that's a stupid law. I think it should be fucking abolished. If you do something in another country, you should be accountable for your actions. End of.
Yeah, totally. Anyone who's done whatever and gets caught out, and you've got to be able to take it. If you don't take it, then you shouldn't be doing it.
And to hide away behind your fucking gated communities. I mean, to be honest, I feel sorry for the Queen. Yeah, because the Queen's having a hard time of it, and she's an old lady. I mean, obviously she's served the country. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not a royalist.
She's been served as well, you know.
Has she?
She's been served by the International Court for what? It was about kids in Canada.
I bet they're looking forward to Christmas this year, aren't they? It's comparing all their serves.
Years old, and she disregards it.
Because obviously Prince Charles, he's been in the news as well recently for selling honours, for donations to his charitable causes. Now
we love the royals, don't we?
It's like, I'll give you a knighthood if you donate a few million to, the Prince's Trust or whatever, So I mean,
that's how they got rid of Fergie.
There's a lot of trouble in the old royal family at the moment.
I think so. Yeah.
Do you think
Harry
was bright to bail off at the time? And I think it's easy.
No, I don't. To be honest, no. I think you should
like,
stay.
God, I want to get away from you guys. If you're just all getting up to no good.
Yeah, I could say it on that front, but you can't pick your family. You know what I mean? And you got to get along, and deal with the matter, get on with each other, and things should be sweet. Look out for each other, and
wise words. Well,
thank you.
There you go. Well, here's a story for you.
Go for it.
This is the world's. This is a big find, in the world, The largest truffle in the world has been found, weighing 1.3 kilograms.
Oh, that's a nice little bit of dough there.
Yeah. Well, apparently, the story goes it was 2 a.m. He left his house in November, heading out into the countryside and on the hunt for truffles. Basically, had a shufty around, found this truffle. It's the world's largest one. I don't know why that's impressive. I'm having a look now for you.
Because that must be a couple of grand there.
Do you know what? It's because your mug's in the way. Yeah, right. I'm trying to look at the screen and I've got Taylor's face, which keeps covering the what's it.
Hey, this is beautiful. This. What? It's built for radio. My face.
I'll do it. You know what? Right. Okay. Yes. So he said he started truffle hunting in the 80s, and he'd never found anything since that sort of big. He sold it for $1 million.
No way, $1 million.
Yeah. It weighed 1,310 grams.
Fuck.
Yeah, and he sold it for $1 million and made his fortune. He didn't realise that obviously it was going to be that much. It was great to be rich. He said he felt like the truffle couldn't have been more of an impact. It was like such a great thing.
Made his life.
There you go. So there you go.
It
shows you how you can make your fortune just by going out looking for mushrooms and whatnot.
By accident. If you're not looking for it,
found a nugget that was fucking bigger than his head.
Yeah, and what a nugget that was.
Anything else you've seen?
I've only got NASA news now, mate.
It's funny enough, I've only got NASA news as well, to be honest. What's going on in NASA world?
Well, we've had a little fire in the International Space Station, which was a bit strange because it turned out that there was smoke. So there was chemicals within the air of the space station.
It's one of them, isn't it? If a fire breaks out on the space station, it's you've got to deal with it. You can't call out the fucking emergency services. You've got to sort it. But I mean, I believe they're having some work done. They got some men in at the minute. Russia's split off, haven't they, from the International Space Station, and it seems that they've left it in a bit of a state. It's like when they go we're going to take our bid now, and they've just removed their half of the space station and left it in a bit of disarray.
Well, according to reports, the fire started in the Russian side and ended up in the American side, but they still can't find where it is. They still can't find where the fire is. Everything's working as usual, so I think it's nearly time to abandon it because
it must be a bit of a fucking shed by now, surely.
Well, it's been damaged ever since Russia took their pod off. It's been damaged, and it's actually moved it in a different direction. That they reckon it's going to come down in 2024. That's how close to it going now. And it was going to build and extend it, but now you've got China's got one, Russia's got theirs. I'm no doubt within the next couple of years, America will put up their one and start connecting to everyone else as well. We'll probably do it as well for a little while and see what we can do. We'll probably join in with America, to be honest. But yeah, it just seems like it is now something that shouldn't be happening, which is going to be the fight for the space around us.
Fight for space.
That's the next.
It's the next frontier, battle, isn't it? It's the Wild West. It's like they're going up there. Well, this is the thing. I think it's all now down for territories again. So they're fighting for territories. So it's like if you can kind of get the moon or Mars, then you've hypothetically the gateway to the universe, because you're going to obviously be able to use fueling stations. You're going to be able to build colonies,
what it is,
all the rest of it. It's like if it's in, China's, Russia's, any other sort of country's hands, could there be sort of conflict there? Do you know what I mean? But again, it's
no accountability either.
Again, we should all be getting along, man. Learn to love one another.
That's it, but
now
it's just the world, isn't it? We just can't get along together because we've.
Come on,
but then again,
now.
It's individualised. Everyone's individual. If we didn't work on the individual, then we wouldn't have these great ideas or these accidents that we know we shouldn't do that again, or
learn from your mistakes, people.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It'll be a very, very boring place, but we should. We should.
That's
get
right.
Together.
It's like we like a bit of drama. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone likes a little.
No. I'd rather have peace than drama.
Well, I would, but
I found this story. NASA have been trying to get rock samples from Mars.
Oh yes,
they had a failed attempt recently, didn't they? Where the drill didn't work properly. Well, NASA's rover's core drill has actually got a sample,
Mental.
and they've basically been able to, send it off. So result.
So should be here soon then.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, they've got to do a drive-by, haven't they, to collect it, or does it fire it back?
Yeah, it fires it up to the pod that's already up there, and then that takes off and comes back to Earth, and then lands, and then we take. Then the next shuttle, the next rocket that goes there, if any more samples need to come, then it sends it again.
Right. Okay.
They're hoping to actually. There is ideas in. I think NASA has already got plans in to do an orbit around the moon, but also considering one around Mars as well, because they reckon if we come from Earth in a spaceship to go to the moon, have sort all our bits and bobs out there, and then move off from there to Mars, and then obviously from Mars. They're going to do exactly the same, to try and get further out and go to Europa and places like that have got seas that we could actually find life. Okay.
I was looking at this. Have you heard that these, obviously we talked about meteorites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Asteroids and stuff. So there's an asteroid that's out there just spinning about, and there's a plan by NASA. They're going to, it's basically a DART program, right?
Okay.
So I think it's Dimorphobe, which is the asteroid, which I think it's hit speeds of about 6.5 kilometers per second. Yeah. They're going to throw this car-sized DART spacecraft, which weighs about a third of a ton, at it to try and change its orbit.
Right. This is good idea. This is really good idea.
So
we need it.
They're going to try and impact it with this small craft to try and change the orbit of so the asteroid, takes a different path away from Earth.
Yeah.
Pretty cool idea. I think obviously they're trying to think outside the box.
More because
that's going to be launching around November between November to February 2022. So pretty coming up. Yeah, so we'll look into that when it's happening, and we'll let you know a bit more about it. I think they were gonna look into something like this a few years ago, but never actually did it.
I think plans were in preparations, and it didn't actually go. Well, it takes time, doesn't it? So it looks like it's had its go ahead and the funding. So good luck to it. Hopefully, we need something like that to. Defend us at some point, because we are being hit all the time. But it just takes that big one.
Well, there was one actually, wasn't the seen recently? There was in Southampton, I think it was, or somewhere around in the south of England, where webcams seen an asteroid flaring into the distance, and it just goes to show you. I think there was one in Russia a few years ago, which literally. Lit up the sky, and loads of people got footage of it.
There's been several big ones since
obviously
then.
the size of the impact that killed the dinosaurs off and stuff, it's like, are there any big boys out there? And if there are, we need these types of technologies and programs in place to defend us. So good
we're
idea.
Always upgrading. We've just upgraded the system now to look 4 times as much out there.
You mentioned a story yesterday, which I don't know if you're going to talk about it, but Elon Musk's Starlink satellites.
Oh yeah, one of they seem to be losing satellites at the minute.
Yeah, because there's been a couple of reports of them falling out of the sky.
Yeah, there's been several now. So
weren't there some reports of it kind of like over the UK should be a bit aware.
Yes,
because
on
potentially
Saturday,
one of the satellites might be falling out of the sky. That was over the weekend.
That's right. Yeah.
I wonder if that's fell anywhere. Watch your heads, everyone.
Yeah. So you've got more chance of winning the lottery.
Well, if you do, it's like I'm confiscating this Elon if it lands in my back garden.
Well, yeah, we're after. Well, what's in it? The battery life on it. How's it?
It could be thingy.
It could be chemical.
No, it could be It could be solar powered.
Sun.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, but then again, potentially, yeah. I don't know too much about actually the actual satellite. So
if it lands in the back garden,
I tell you what, there'd be shitloads of gold
and
possibly
platinum and that in
if
there,
it hasn't melted off going through the atmosphere.
Yeah, who knows? If it lands in your garden, get it on eBay.
Yeah. Look in your back garden, you might find it.
You might even find it. Yeah, exactly. Any more NASA news that you've got?
No, man, I'm clean as, son. I'm clean as.
All right. I think that's it for me as well, to be honest. So we'll be back next week.
We will indeed.
With another exciting episode, I'm sure.
Of course.
If you've got any comments, queries or suggestions, you know what to do. You can get in touch with us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. You can go over to the website at neverstraightanswer.co.uk.
You can.
We're available on all podcast platforms. Wherever you get your podcast, we're available from Spotify, iTunes, even available on YouTube.
Internationally known,
International men of mystery.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week, like I say, for another exciting episode. That's it for this week. I've been Gaz.
Indeed. I've been Taylor.
We've been Never Straight Answer Podcast.
We have.
Peace.
Out.